My name's Mike Hansen. I'm the Texas dad lawyer. I've been prosecuting for about a decade. I've dabbled in criminal defense, and one of my specialties is animal abuse. I have a follower who requested that I provide content on the Cole Prevost issue. He's a juvenile out of Louisiana. It is a very, very unfortunate fact pattern where a Labrador that he owns was beaten pretty severely, and for whatever reason, this video was taken and posted online. I'm completely baffled because I don't know the history. Obviously, I don't follow teenagers on social media or anything of that sort, but my understanding was he was a very popular character on TikTok, and he was an individual who perhaps even advocated for animal advocacy, animal rights, animal abuse sort of things. But then the tables are turned, and there's a video that's released where he is alleged to have committed animal cruelty. Now, in researching this topic, I understand that he was brought before a juvenile court. It just so happens that in addition to animal abuse cases, I handle juvenile law matters, but in the state of Texas, and the system is very similar in Louisiana. In the state of Louisiana, you're a juvenile and you've committed conduct which is considered delinquent conduct or the equivalent to criminal conduct if you commit that conduct in between the ages of 10 and 17. Once you hit 17 in the state of Louisiana, you're an adult, so if you commit criminal conduct at that point in time, you'll be going to big boy court or jail. However, this young man who has allegedly committed animal abuse against his pet is a juvenile, and so he went to juvenile court. I want to talk a bit about the charges. I want to talk a bit about the juvenile system and what you can expect, and I want to then provide a call for justice for y'all who love animals to do something about it, and I'll tell you exactly what you can do here at the end. Now here's a very blurry screenshot from the video that started it all. Apparently the dog was taken out on a duck hunting trip. It failed to do what he requested, and he allegedly beat the dog, threatened to burn it, and things of that sort. Of course, anybody who saw this video was outraged and demanded that there be justice for the animal, and justice so far is taking place because this juvenile has been charged with beating his dog. So let's talk a bit about what those charges may look like. Based on the known evidence, I believe that one of the charges that could have came out of this would have been under subsection B. And we see here in the code for cruelty to animals, they're simple and aggravated charges, but one of the charges has to do with cruelly beating any living animal, whether belonging to himself or another. So that would have been an easy one. And there's another one. I'm going to switch screens here so that we can see it better. So I was actually just able to move myself and go down here to subsection I of the code, which states that you can be charged for animal cruelty by mistreating any living animal by any act or omission whereby unnecessary or unjustifiable physical pain, suffering, or death is caused to or permitted upon the animal. Those are the two areas of animal cruelty where I think an evidence based in the video form, the animal crying for help, the physical beating of the animal, it would be fairly easy to enter that evidence and show that he in fact did commit these acts of animal cruelty. Now, a very important question is always, what would the penalty range be for somebody who's committed what would amount to a simple cruelty act against an animal? It shows here in Louisiana that the penalty for a simple act would be not to be fined not more than $1,000. I'm looking at subsection 2A, or imprisoned for not more than 6 months, or both. Sounds like a pretty simple misdemeanor in Texas. That would be what we call it. As far as some mandated provisions, if they're put on probation, you see if he was an adult, that he shall be ordered to perform. We're looking at subsection C, 5 8-hour days of court-approved community service, and of course, that's going to be in line with whatever the renderings are of a very likely psychological evaluation, anger management treatment, things of that sort that would be a part of what's likely going to be a probation for the child. All right, so let's talk about how the juvenile law system works. Of course, somebody between 10 and 17 can be charged in the state of Louisiana. Now, if a crime has been committed, there's going to be charges, right? And what happens is the child is taken into detention. There's a detention hearing. If the judge believes that there's probable cause or evidence, they're able to detain that child and then set a bond. usually the child's parents or somebody who knows the child is able to post that bond, and they're able to be out while those charges are pending, while they're waiting to handle their business. How does this work in the meantime, in between that hearing and somebody out on bond and what's going to possibly be the end result? Well, if the DA's office picks up the charges, there's going to be stuff going on with the juvenile probation department, and they're going to be likely doing assessments, especially in cases of animal cruelty, to determine whether there needs to be some psychological services, counseling, behavioral assessments, and determine what types of services the child needs in the juvenile system. While I've seen so many people angry about what they saw this child do to his dog, at the end of the day, the focus of the juvenile justice system is going to be to rehabilitate the child. It's going to be to provide him services so that he can go into society being a law-abiding citizen and not make the same mistakes and live a productive life. However, one of the unfortunate side effects with this particular incident is because it is so viral and because it's received so much attention, this young man is never going to be able to live this down. It will be something that's associated with his name because the internet does not forget. And that in and of itself, folks, will be the consequence that he pays for what he did to his dog. That will be more serious than anything this court will ever impose or the judge will ever impose, and it's something that he'll have to live with. I know that many people are concerned about this dog's welfare, and that's something that we're always concerned about in animal cruelty cases. However, the dog is considered property, and to be able to forfeit that property requires legal proceedings. It also requires somebody typically to believe and have evidence that the dog is not in a safe environment, that it is in some sort of condition where it's at risk. And unfortunately, from what I've read online, there's comments from, I believe it's the sheriff's office, who says the dog is safe and in good condition. So that evidence is very unlikely to be produced to result in some sort of civil hearing where the dog is taken away from the owner, despite what we've seen as clear indications of an occasion where animal abuse occurred. One other thing that I want to mention about the juvenile justice system. Many people may wonder whether this type of act would require or allow for a child to be certified as an adult and for there to be more serious consequences. Unfortunately, if there's not history and if it's not a heinous offense such as murder or aggravated robbery or something that involves a crime to a person as well as behavioral issues that have been ongoing and pose a risk to society, it's going to be highly unlikely that a child is certified as an adult. It is one of the worst things that could ever happen to a child to face adult consequences and have a criminal record that would follow them for the rest of their life. So last but not least, what can you do? How can you make the evil things going on in this world turn into good? A petition's been launched here on this case for local authorities to remove the dog. I think a pusher for that would always be a good thing, but on a global scale, what can you do? I myself have traveled to Africa to support Tanzanian and Kenyan prosecutors in their quest to stop organized crime with the ivory trade. That's something I felt passionate about, and I did because I love animals and I want to stop evil things happening to them. I signed up as a prosecutor and took on more work, even though I don't get paid anything extra, to prosecute defendants who do horrible things to animals. And what I can tell you is judges don't seem to take these offenses as serious as they should. The punishment, in my opinion, rarely fits the crime. And so you are in control of your elected officials. Look at how they handle these cases and raise a voice telling them that you care about how these cases are handled. In addition to that, whether it's $5, whether it's $1, whether it's $10, putting money towards the groups who are doing the hard work with creating connections in Congress and creating connections on the state level to push animal lobbying, animal laws, animal cruelty laws, and holding offenders accountable is not a bad idea. It's a great thing to be tapped into those networks. I support the Texas Humane Legislative Network. I've supported Animal Welfare Action with Wayne Pacelli out of DC. There's the humane societies. We have local shelters who are doing good work trying to save animals and get them adopted and control the population. And so whatever it is you can do in whatever capacity you use this platform for, you can do good and you can change the narrative and you can use this incident of bad conduct for many good things with animals. One thing you can do, especially for me, is reshare this. let people know about what's happening and how they can positively impact the animal and our fur baby friends. So please follow me, reshare this. Let's get a movement going.